So my name is Will. I'm usually known online as Chevdor. I'm working for a consulting company called Decentralized, and we are helping our customers to actually understand blockchain, what blockchain can do, and what blockchain could actually solve their problems. I think what makes Polkadot and Substrate special is, first of all, the team. I do consider the Parity Tech team as a very good team. I think the guys are pretty skilled, probably as crazy as skilled, which is meant in a good way. I think the choice is, in terms of tooling and solutions, are very good for the blockchain sphere, which means I have a very high confidence that they will be able to deliver. I usually like to test actually new projects that I hear about. I usually don't spend too much time reading too much about white papers and the PowerPoints and slides that are going about project. I like to dive in and see actually how things really work, which actually was pretty easy, knowing again that these Parity projects are pretty easy to get started with. It's easy to reach the community. The devs are online actually all the time. So it's actually pretty easy to get started. One thing, however, that was not very easy is that in order to use Polkadot today, you need to be either a Rust developer or know a bit of basics about Rust in order to build the whole project. And I decided to simplify that a little bit, to give a chance to as many people as possible to get started and get some nodes up and running. So this is why I created the initial Docker image for Polkadot, which allows people really in one-liner to get started and get the node up and running without any need to know about Rust and programming even. Yeah. So that's one of the projects I work on. I use actually my own Docker image, of course, to get a couple of nodes up and running. I started doing some validation for the Polkadot network, which led to the next project actually, which is called Polkabot with a B. The goal of this project is actually to help people running nodes to know what's going on the network. The Polkadot network is actually pretty complex when you compare to Bitcoin or Ethereum. There is a democracy system that is actually allowing people to vote and make on-chain decisions, but that only works if people get alerted by these votes. So Polkabot is actually spying a bit the network and bringing relevant information back to the users and to the people running nodes. So the main problem here is that we work with various companies, some of them being very small, some of them being very big. And no blockchain solution today, I will say, works. Works in the sense that every company has its own need. Some of them need lots of speed, maybe less security. Some of them need high security, and they're okay to compromise on speed. And today it's very hard to do that. It's very hard today to take a blockchain that is close to what you need, kind of make a copy-paste and get your own chain rolling up. So that's exactly what Substrate is about. That allows you to have this kind of prefabs you can use to really build your chain in a matter of a couple of hours. And I think people doing this CryptoKitty tutorial will realize how easy it is to make their own chain or their own runtime. We see today an ecosystem where you need to really make a hard choice when you decide to pick for a blockchain. People call that permissioned or private blockchains. On one end, you have this notion of public blockchain or permissionless blockchains such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. And today you need to choose. Today, when you have a project and you want to work on blockchain, you first need to make this big choice. Do we go for the big scary public one, or do we go all cozy at home on our private blockchain? But this is reducing the benefits of blockchain. The goal of blockchain is to actually allow people to work together. So when you silo this thing in a private network, it works, but you lose really lots of the benefits you can get with blockchain. And I think Polkadot will be allowing to actually map that, to have a connection between public blockchains and what we call private blockchains or permission blockchains. I think the best, and it's not only valid for Substrate, is to really try. There are lots of blockchain projects today. There are lots of promises with blockchain projects. And like in many cases, the people who are the loudest are not always the people delivering the most. I think we start hearing about Polkadot and Substrate, but it's still a pretty much unknown project. that I believe is one that will deliver. I will not mention any projects here, but I got some experience with some projects who promise a lot, but as soon as you start testing them, you realize that these are just promises, that that the reality is really different. So my advice would be for people to really give it a shot. The whole ecosystem is pretty young, and I think the best way to get started is to really start with an easy application and really try to put that into practice, to really make a real project, to really stress test the system and see what's coming out. No, it's pretty new to me. Actually, I've been hibernating the last month, so I'm now coming back and trying to go through the progress that I've made the last month, which are huge. I think what is interesting to notice is probably what is confusing for many people. The project started as Polkadot, so many people know about the Polkadot blockchain, probably seeing this as another blockchain like pretty much all the others. I think what's interesting to understand is that when you make a blockchain, when you write a blockchain, there are lots of things you keep on redoing. We saw that in the past, most of the projects are copy-pasting or forking existing blockchains, making small little changes in there and hoping for the best. It's a way to do that, probably not the cleanest way to do. So the option here from Parity Tech was to say, we're going to take all the building blocks of a blockchain. We're not going to put that in Polkadot. We're going to put that in a library that we can call Substrate, which we're going to be using actually in the project called Polkadot. So it's very interesting because it allows people to really get started with blockchain projects in no time. You don't need to take care of that. I really challenge anyone to make today a blockchain project from scratch, actually within a day, for example. That's very challenging, especially if you want to take security into account. And I think that's what you get up to a certain extent with Substrate and thanks to Rust as well. So I think that makes it a very good choice to get started. Yeah, I think what I would really recommend is people to give it a shot. I think today we're at a state where it's very easy to get started, very easy to spin up your own node. And I think getting a node to run, making a couple transactions, even maybe validating for some, is much more interesting than to read anything correct or incorrect about Polkadot or about any blockchain. So my first advice would be for people, give it a shot and make your opinion. You will see what it's about.